الحمد لله منشئ الخلق من عدم ثم الصلاة على المختار في القدم مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك على رسولك خير الخلق كلهم بلغ سلامي روضة فيها النبي المحترم يا خير من دفنت بالقاء عظمه فطاب من طيبهن القاء والأثم روح الفداء قبر أنت ساكنه فيه العفاف وفيه الجود والكرم أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الرسل كلوا من الطيبات واعملوا صالحا. Honorable elders and respected brothers and listeners, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Our guest speaker today is on his way. I didn't really have anything prepared to say, but our brother Shafiq was saying that we should say a couple of words before our guest speaker comes, inshallah. I heard my Sheikh, Maulana Abdul Hamid Hafizahullah, recently advised the gathering. He was saying that it is very important during the month of Ramadan to be particular about what we put on our dastarkhan for iftar and for suhoor. The ayat that I have just recited to you, Allah Ta'ala tells the messengers that, O messengers, Ya ayyuhar rusulu, O messengers, kulu min at-tayyibati, eat from the wholesome food, halal wholesome food, wa'malu saliha, and do righteous deeds. The ulama say that both of these two are connected to one another. You eat righteous, you do righteous. You eat good, clean, healthy, wholesome food, then this will have a direct impact on what you do in your body. If you eat dodgy food, then that is what the effect will be on your body. If you eat haram food, which is out of the question, for a believer to knowingly eat haram food, out of the question. But let's say if they did it, then you can be rest assured you will have no tawfiq to do good deeds. How sad. And what a tragedy that in the month of Ramadan, the month of good deeds and righteous deeds and lots of reward, that our aim and objective should be to get the pleasure of Allah by doing as much good deeds as possible, and yet we're putting food into our mouth that is going to take that tawfiq away. That is going to take that ability away. So one thing is, there are three types of food. Maybe you can put a fourth category, but let's keep it to three. One is the halal. Another one is the doubtful. Another one is haram. Halal is what you can prove to be prepared or slaughtered, depending on the type of food, according to the ahkam of Islam. That it ticks all the boxes, that it has no haram ingredient in it, and if it's meat, that it was slaughtered in the name of Allah according to all the other rules of dhabiha. Doubtful is something that you cannot hand on heart say, is it halal, is it haram, you don't know. Could be haram, could even be halal, but you don't know. At the time of consumption, you don't know. You can't say for sure it's haram, you can't say for sure it is halal. And haram, well, haram is haram. Something that the Quran or the Sunnah has clearly told us, don't eat that. So like I said, for a believing man, for a believing woman, to knowingly put something haram into their mouth, out of the question. They would never do that. If they did it probably accidentally. But even then a person has to be careful. But doubtful, those things that you are not sure, like inshallah, I can hand on heart say that no Muslim man or woman will ever take pork or bacon or something and put it in their mouth. Out of the question, unthinkable. But it will definitely be the case where there will be many items in the supermarkets, in the big shopping centers, where a person will buy and in the ingredients will be written all these random ingredients, many of them having numbers and letters. Now a person thinks, I don't see pork, I don't see bacon. inshallah it'll be halal, right? Or more foolishly, some of us say, it's got Arabic writing on it. It's got Arabic writing on it, must be halal, right? Arabic writing is just a translation of what's written in the English. It doesn't mean that it's halal, right? Allah forgive us, Allah forgive us. There is some places as well that are using halal fraudulently as well. They have the halal sign outside, and where did they get it from? Internet, right? They go into one of these websites where they make signs. Halal is easily available. A person who has those type of software and that type of printing mechanism with the stickers and everything, anyone can make a halal sticker now. Once, not in this country, in South Africa, some of the ulama that were going around in their halal monitoring efforts, and they went to one shop that they said, it says halal. They look inside, the person doesn't even look Muslim. So they thought, let's check it out. Maybe he might be a non-Muslim, he might be storing halal, he might be sourcing his meat from a halal source. Went in, start asking questions. You've got halal there. What does it mean? Where do you get your halal from? So he said this source. The ulama never heard of it. So they said, if you don't mind us asking, you're not a Muslim, are you? He said, no, I'm not a Muslim. But I've got a lot of Muslim customers, right? So I said, well, that's good that you're considering your Muslim customers, and that's why you're keeping halal. If you don't mind us asking, do you understand this concept halal? What does halal mean? So he said halal is a flavor. It's like peri-peri flavor. So this is actually a real story. It actually happened. This is not a joke. Right? This person thought that that is a type of flavor that Muslims like. They like chili food, so that's why. That's the type of food that's what it means. Right? The reality on the ground, respected brothers, and I'm going to say it to you absolutely bluntly, that the world outside in terms of industry, food industry, doesn't care about you. Remember that. Write that down, keep that in your mind. Always believe that. The food industry does not care about you. What do I mean by that? It means that if they can infect you with an illness and you die 20 years later because of the food that they've just fed you, but as long as they get their money from you, that's all they care about. All they care about is to transfer the money that's in your pocket into their coffers. Food industry is a multi-billion pound industry. Multi-billion pound. Every single year, the amount of sales that all these fast food shops, all of these supermarkets are making is astronomical. Ask any people in the finance sector, they'll tell you. So in that world of multi-billion pounds, do you think they care about what's halal and haram? Do you think they care about what goes into your stomach and whether you're allowed to eat it or not? Anyhow they can get you to buy something that's good enough. As soon as the money is coming to their tills, that's their job done. They couldn't care less what happens to you. So in this cutthroat world, this world of crooks and criminals, we have to be very careful about what goes into our stomach and into the stomach of our family, especially our children. Our children don't have money. They won't be able to go and buy food. We're the ones who are putting it into their mouth. How sad that as a mother, as a father, with the responsibility of looking after my children, I willingly put something in my mouth, in their mouth, that I can't guarantee whether it is halal or haram, that I don't even know. It could be, might not be. Is this the type of carelessness? As I was saying before, كُلُوا مِنَ الطَّيِّبَاتِ وَاعْمَلُوا صَالِحًا. Eat wholesome, then the actions that will come out will be wholesome as well. A person eats halal tayyib, then a person will want to perform tahajjud, want to recite Quran, want to do dhikr, want to attend the Jama'ah Salah. 20 raka'at Taraweeh, not a problem. No one's going to be complaining. But a person eats doubtful, even worse haram, then you will not have the tawfiq. You will have doubts in your iman. You won't want to do any good deeds. In fact, the complete opposite. Then the desire of haram will come inside you. Then you want to do haram. Then you want to commit sin. Why? It's because that food that has entered into your body and now permeating all the parts of your body, all these thoughts and things will come into your heart. There is a story that our ulama say, from history that Hajjaj ibn Yusuf, he was a great tyrant in the Umayyad dynasty. And the Umayyad Khalifs used to keep him just to keep the people in check. He was such a tyrant. According to the books of history, it said that only in peacetime, forget wartimes, thousands of people die anyway, but in peace times alone, he had hundreds and thousands of people killed. People who he referred to as rebels of the state, he just had them killed. Many of them were great ulama, people who narrated the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. So when he took charge, it is mentioned in the story, as the story goes, he invited all the area's pious and righteous people for a dawah. He called them in for some food, and he told them all, come sit down and eat. You people are pious and righteous, people honor you, so I should honor you as well, right? Eat from here and make dua for them. So they all came, they ate. Afterwards he said, I have an announcement. He said, whatever dua you make for me, don't make for me, I don't care. From today, I'm not worried about you people. The reason is, I have just mixed haram food in all the food that I've just fed you. None of your du'as are going to be accepted. So make all the curses upon me, none of it's going to be accepted. He understood. Right? One of the curses of eating doubtful and haram food is your du'as are not accepted. This is actually for those of you who are in the habit of memorizing hadith, one of the 40 hadith of Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah. That's a reference, go and check it out. It's a long hadith in which Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says that Allah Ta'ala only accepts the pure and the wholesome. At the end of the hadith, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, there is a man, as an example, who is walking in the desert, traveling in the desert. The person is dusty, disheveled, and he turns to Allah and he says, Ya Rabbi, Ya Rabbi, وَمَأْكَلُهُ حَرَامٌ وَمَطْعَمُهُ حَرَامٌ وَمَلْبَسُهُ حَرَامٌ وَمَشْرَبُهُ حَرَامٌ فَكَيْفَ يُسْتَجَابُ لَهُ. His food is haram, his drink is haram, what he's wearing is haram. How can Allah Ta'ala accept his dua? When a person is eating haram and drinking haram, they're setting themselves up into a situation where the du'as will not be accepted. So all the du'as we're making during the month of Ramadan, every night after Taraweeh, in the Laylatul Qadr insha'Allah, don't we want our du'as to be accepted? We're making dua for sick people, elderly people. We're making dua for people who have passed away. We are making dua for people who are sick in our family. We're making dua for Syria and Palestine, for Turkey and for all of these war-torn places. We don't want our duas to be accepted. One of the biggest hindrances of that is the thing that we eat. The English saying is true. You are what you eat. My Shaykh used to say, if you eat good food, you become a good person. You eat junk food, you're a junkie then. Right? You eat junk food, you're a junkie. Right? I'm sure many of the ulama would have told us that the fast not only has a purifying spiritual effect, but even from a physical perspective, it has a purifying effect on the body as well. Right? And anatomically, it is actually cleansing our pores. 11 months of the year, we're eating all the time, our normal meals, and then on top of that, the snacks in between, all of our pores are clogged with food and junk. Fast of Ramadan is cleaning all of that up. But unfortunately, as we can see from the purchases that people make and the way things are during the month of Ramadan, the joke is that our fasting has become feasting. It is true. Let's look. Ramadan is the time we eat more than any other time during the month of, during the other 11 months of the year. During the year, actually, we separate our food out over the 24 hours. Breakfast early in the morning, lunch in the middle of the day, then evening time dinner with maybe snacks in between. Here, what do? Iftar time, we have such rich foods that we don't eat at any other time during the year. Iftar time. So we pack it up at iftar time. Then we go for Taraweeh. After Taraweeh, we forgot that we ate at iftar time. And then we pack it up, big meal before we go to sleep after Taraweeh. Then, After, in suhoor time, we wake up, then a big meal at that time, thinking, oh, it's a big fast. Big fast after we eat. So all of those big meals we ate in a very short amount of time. And the whole fast will go to clean that up only for it to be cancelled and wasted back at iftar time. Fasting time is supposed to be the time we eat less. Yet our purchases are more during the month of Ramadan. MashaAllah, even our stores, Muslim stores, they say Ramadan sale, come. Right? The same thing, right? The pots of chickpeas and the single cream and all of that. It was expensive during the other year, we'll knock it down for you because you're going to eat a lot of this during the month of Ramadan. Come back. Right? I'm not saying boycott our Muslim stores, don't get it twisted. I'm saying that what is the quality of our fast? Right? Many of us, sometimes we brag to each other. We say, Alhamdulillah, today I fasted, I didn't even feel any hunger. Right? I ate properly. Iftar time, suhoor time, no hunger at all. Right? The whole purpose of the fast is to feel hunger. Not from the beginning, obviously. Second half of it, it is to feel that hunger in your stomach. Right? Again, we're not saying that at suhoor and iftar time not to eat adequately. But adequately doesn't mean to eat 5, 10 different things. Rich foods as well. Right? You can eat healthy, or even the amount of food that you eat can be in certain controlled proportions. It doesn't have to be so much, thinking that I've got a long fast to do fasting. Right? We have to look after our fast. The more quality our fast has, the more iman power that it will give us, and it will last us the other 11 months. Right? If our fast is messed up, then we don't get any benefit from it, and then as soon as Eid comes, then back to our normal. Fast, we have to take something from it. And one major component of that is the food that we eat. It should be halal and tayyib, and it should be in controlled amounts. The aim and objective of Ramadan is not to eat, it's not to feast, it is to fast. Right? And all of our body must be involved in that fast. Right? Our fast should be in such a way that during the day that we feel that hunger. I was just saying at iftar time to my children. My children, obviously as children are, those of them who are old enough to fast, they say, oh, only 20 minutes, only 10 minutes, I can't wait, where's the food, where's the food? So I said to my son that, look, that hunger that you're feeling right now, it's a unique opportunity. Now when we're sitting at the dastakhan, at the table, when we're feeling that hunger, now we have that feeling that we will never feel during the other 11 months. Be honest, brothers and listeners who are sitting here. When do we actually ever feel proper hunger during any other month? Where no way in any other month do we ever feel hunger at all. We start eating when we're bored during other months. We've never actually felt true hunger. You know what true hunger is like? When you come home and you tell the missus or you tell the family at home, give me something to eat. I don't care what it is. That's proper hunger. When you're fussy with your food, you're not hungry. When you say, no, I don't want that, I want this and I want that, you're not proper hungry. Proper hunger is give me anything and eat it now. That's hunger. And that's the feeling that we feel at the time of iftar. That feeling of emptiness inside is breaking us down. It's making us feel humble. That is the sentiment to now use in our du'as. At the time of iftar, du'as are readily accepted. Every single day at the time of iftar, there is a du'a that is readily accepted. Okay, our speaker is here, inshallah. Our speaker is here, inshallah, so I'll hand it off. So just to finish off my point, inshallah, the time of iftar is a very important time. Food is in front of us, we are going to eat. If we're doing iftar in the masjid, alhamdulillah. If at home, alhamdulillah. Right? But the main point is, iftar should be a time, not again for when is iftar time, when is iftar time. That is a very special time. Imagine if Allah Ta'ala has told us, make any dua now, I'll accept it. Right? We're always asking the Imam, you're such a pious person, please make dua for me. Here Allah is telling each and every one of us, you fasted for me, make a dua now, I'll accept it for you. And that time what's happening? Women and children are running around in the kitchen, women are bringing things back and forth, husbands on the phone, some children are on the phone, texting away, right? Taking selfies with their iftar, look what I'm going to eat today, right? Allahu Akbar Kabir, what a waste of time, right? Ramadan's a time, turn off the WhatsApp and say, so sorry, I'll see you after Eid. I've got things to do. Every day, running out of time, right? That's the time for dua, right? All of us who are doing iftar in the masjid, those of us who are running the masjid, we should make sure there's absolute pin drop silence at iftar time. People shouldn't be talking. If we can get the imam to lead the brothers in dua, inshallah, right? So these are the things that we should keep in mind, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us to understand, inshallah. Subhanallah bihamdihi, subhanallah bihamdihi, la ilaha illa astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. If I can kindly ask all the brothers, inshallah, to stand up. As you can see, it is raining outside. We don't want any of the brothers to be outside. As it is, many people are ill as well. We don't want them to fall even more ill. Let us try to fill up all the spaces, inshallah. Any small space that we see in front of us, let us shuffle forward and fill that space, inshallah. Make space for other brothers as well. Try to stand as close to each other as possible. Squeeze up, it's only a 2 rak'ah salah, inshallah. Our volunteers are also coming around for the connection for the masjid. Please donate what is needed, inshallah. The brothers at the back are saying, move forward, inshallah. Please try to squeeze as much as possible to each other. It will be a little bit of difficulty, inshallah, but it's only 2 rak'ah salah. Let's try to be considerate for other brothers as well, inshallah. We make space for others, Allah Ta'ala will make space for us. Let's spend towards the path of Allah Ta'ala. The masjid obviously is in need of your help. This masjid is your masjid. Please donate generously towards the masjid. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept your donation. Jazakumullah khairan. Please donate generously.
Just a quick announcement from the management. We are really sorry, as we made an announcement yesterday that there will be important talk about Sadaqatul Fitr today in the Jumu'ah. Our guest speaker has been stuck in the traffic. He falls asleep nearly half an hour, so he just arrived. Inshallah, if we have time after the Jumu'ah for Salah, inshallah, a couple of minutes, inshallah, you can stay behind them. Raining outside, so you can stay inside the masjid, inshallah. 10 minutes, inshallah, our guest speaker will explain what is Sadaqatul Fitr and what we should do when we make our payment of Sadaqatul Fitr. Jazakallah khair, my brothers. Also, there is a brother, Abdul Rashid Khan. He made a request to the Imams can you just make dua for his mom. His mom has cancer, so please, Imam Sahib, you can make dua for his mom. Jazakallah khair.
Sorry, Shafi Bhai, can you just also make an announcement of the time change? Next week's Jumu'ah?
Oh yes, sorry. Thank you, also. Yes, there will be time changing. So next week, Friday, the Jumu'ah, the talk will be starting 1:20. The talk will be start 1:20, inshallah, next week. And from this Sunday, inshallah, all the salah will be 1 hour forward, inshallah. So our Tarawih from tomorrow night, it will be 9 p.m. inshallah. Isha salah will be 9 p.m. inshallah. Jazakallah khair.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
الحمد لله الذي هدانا إلى سبيل الهداية والعرفان وجعلنا من أهل الإسلام والإيقان. نحمده سبحانه وتعالى على أن أظلنا شهر عظيم يسمى رمضان ترمض فيه الذنوب وتكشف فيه الكروب. ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له شهادة بالقلب واللسان. ونشهد أن سيدنا محمدا عبده ورسوله الذي عرفنا ما يدخلنا الجنان، صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه أكمل أهل الإيمان وسلم تسليما كثيرا. أما بعد، فقد دخل شهر رمضان فخذوا بركاته بالطاعات والتنزه عن العصيان، كما حضنا عليه رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إلى ما لا ينتهي من الزمان. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم: كل عمل ابن آدم يضاعف، الحسنة 10 أمثالها إلى 700 ضعف. قال الله عز وجل: إلا الصوم فإنه لي وأنا أجزي به، يدع شهوته وطعامه من أجلي. للصائم فرحتان، فرحة عند فطره وفرحة عند لقاء ربه، ولخلوف فيه أطيب عند الله من ريح المسك. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. فالآن باشروهن وابتغوا ما كتب الله لكم وكلوا واشربوا حتى يتبين لكم الخيط الأبيض من الخيط الأسود من الفجر ثم أتموا الصيام إلى الليل. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله ونشهد أن سيدنا محمدا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد، أوصيكم ونفسي أولا بتقوى الله والمواظبة على ذكر الله. ألا خير الكلام كلام الله، وأحسن الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، وشر الأمور محدثاتها، وكل محدثة بدعة، وكل بدعة ضلالة. ربنا اغفر لنا ولإخواننا الذين سبقونا بالإيمان، ولا تجعل في قلوبنا غلا للذين آمنوا ربنا إنك رؤوف رحيم. اللهم أمطر شآبيب رضوانك على السابقين الأولين من المهاجرين والأنصار، لا سيما على الخلفاء الراشدين المهديين أبي بكر وعمر وعثمان وعلي، وعلى سائر الصحابة أجمعين. اللهم اجعلنا من عتقاء شهر رمضان، اللهم اجعلنا من عتقاء شهر رمضان. اللهم تقبل صيامنا وقيامنا وركوعنا وسجودنا وتلاوتنا كما تقبلت من عبادك الصالحين. عباد الله رحمكم الله، إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. فاذكروني يذكركم واشكروني ولا تكفرون. قيموا الصلاة.
Mushfique, just allow us 2 minutes, inshallah. 2 minutes. There's a lot of brothers waiting outside. I'll be waiting outside. Rafiq bhai, inshallah.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
Straighten your legs, please. Allahu Akbar.
الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. والضحى والليل إذا سجى ما ودعك ربك وما قلى وللآخرة خير لك من الأولى ولسوف يعطيك ربك فترضى ألم يجدك يتيما فآوى ووجدك ضالا فهدى ووجدك عائلا فأغنى فأما اليتيم فلا تقهر وأما السائل فلا تنهر وأما بنعمة ربك فحدث. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. إنا أنزلناه في ليلة القدر وما أدراك ما ليلة القدر ليلة القدر خير من ألف شهر تنزل الملائكة والروح فيها بإذن ربهم من كل أمر سلام هي حتى مطلع الفجر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
As we said earlier, inshallah, good brothers, if you have 10 minutes spare, inshallah, you can stay behind the masjid, inshallah. There will be a very important talk on Sadaqatul Fitr. All the sisters as well, Jazakallah khair. You read the mic.
Brothers need to leave. You can't just leave. For those who have time, inshallah, please stay behind. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. We are all in another blessed month of Ramadan. May Allah bless us with the full blessings of this month and also grant us the ability to perform all our good deeds, all our ibadah properly, so that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts them from us. I just want to share a few thoughts and an important message with you, especially about giving and sadaqah and giving in Ramadan. There are so many things in our society that actually become norm, and we get used to seeing and doing in a particular way, but actually that's not the Islamic norm. That's not how traditionally it was done at the time of the Prophet ﷺ. That's not how it was done throughout Muslim communities, but it's something we've seen in our lifetime, and we kind of then accept that this is how things are done. So for example, about giving charity, it was always the duty of the person who's giving the charity to go and look for the poor and give them the charity. So when it came to zakat, which is an obligatory fard act, it's a pillar of our deen. It's one of the most important things that makes us a Muslim, just like we come here to pray. It was the giver of the zakat whose duty it was to go, calculate first how much zakat he needs to give, and then go and find the poor and give them the zakat. In today's society, it's completely the opposite. The poor have to ask for zakat. They have to ask. Even with organizations that give zakat, the poor have to apply to them. And please, I am in need, can you give me some zakat? This is not the Islamic norm. The norm is that the person giving, they have to go and find the poor and give them. So for example, if we look at, and then if you look at the whole structure of charity, those giving charity, not just zakat which is fard, but voluntary charity, sadaqah, sometimes become proud and arrogant. And if you do that, if you feel that I am doing good by giving zakat, you need to question and check your intention. For example, this masjid, there are volunteers here who've set up the masjid, who've turned the heating on, who've facilitated for us to come and pray. Who's doing who a favor? Are we doing the volunteers of the masjid a favor by coming and praying here? Or are they doing us a favor by facilitating and making it easy for us to pray? And why I'm using this example is that like Ramadan started and the Sheikh talked about WhatsApp, but we're all on social media, we see things. And it's so saddening to see that people are belittling giving in Ramadan. I actually read on somebody's WhatsApp post, oh, it's that time again, they're going to start asking again. Oh, I'm forced to give this appeal. I'm not really for it, guys. Can you please donate here? Astaghfirullah. If that's your attitude, don't give money. Don't belittle the poor. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not need your charity. We are in need of giving charity to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to the poor. In the same way, people get irritated in the masajid when charity appeals are made. Why? If you see a beggar on the street and you think there might be dodgy or you think there might be a professional beggar, you don't want to give to them, keep silent, walk on. Don't humiliate that person. Don't shout back at them. Why are you begging? It's not your business why they are begging. Okay? In the same way, if the appeal in the masjid is running a little bit longer, it's not end of the world. It's only another 5 minutes. Please don't. There are mosques where people start shouting at the person making an appeal. Yesterday, I know of an incident where the person making the appeal was so upset, he left the masjid. And he said to the brothers who were making a fuss,
that had you seen what I've seen with my eyes, you would not say this to me. So in that same way, giving zakat is a fard on us. We mustn't think that just by giving zakat, our charitable obligations are done. That Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam used to give more charity in Ramadan. Okay, so we're not on that same level. Zakat is a fard, it's an obligatory act. So to compare in Ramadan, when we come for Isha, that's our fard prayer. We pray Isha Salah. After Isha, we stay behind and recite and read Taraweeh. That is the sadaqah, that is the extra charity. The zakat is the Isha prayer. Okay, people have now just kind of worked out that the zakat they give in Ramadan is the charity. So mashallah, I've got £10,000 to give. I'm now a very generous and philanthropic person, and I'm going to give this zakat to all the people that make application to me or come and approach me. You've just done your fard. You haven't done anything extra than fulfilling a fard duty upon you. Get another £10,000 out, go and find charitable causes, give it to those people. Then you have done extra charity in Ramadan. Just like the way in Ramadan we make extra recitation of the Quran, we make extra prayers. That's what's the spirit of Ramadan. In the same way, Sadaqatul Fitr, we all see, and I before coming here last night, I checked so many big masajid. Fitra is £7 this year, it's £4, it's £2, whatever it is. Sadaqatul Fitr, in the spirit of it, is that no Muslim on the day of Eid goes hungry. So it is about feeding the Muslims. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam specifically directed us to food items that were stipend, that were like what the regular items that people ate at the time. So dates, wheat, barley, these things. Okay, you can give any food item. Some of the ulama say that you can't give money, but the Ahnaf, they say that you can give money, equivalent of that. How do you work out that money? It's not what the masjid says, £5. This day and age, we're all literate. We understand and we know about things in our lives. We should also study and get to know about our religious obligations, which also includes how we work out our zakat, how we calculate our zakat. Am I eligible to give zakat? If I am, study with the scholars, work out what your zakatable year is. One of the best ways to address zakat is to think about it like a tax. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not taxing us, He's purifying our wealth. But how you give tax, you have an annual tax year, you have finances that come to the end of that year, and you need to work out accordingly. Zakat is very similar. Once you become eligible or liable to pay zakat, you need to set a date. Most people usually set the 1st of Ramadan because you get double blessing. You give your zakat out in Ramadan, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you 10 times more reward. That's all noble and that's all correct and good. But you should set yourself a date of when you work out your zakat, work out your assets on that day, work out what you owe to people in that year, and what you have left, and you pay zakat on that. Sadaqatul Fitr, in the same way, it's about getting a good meal out to the poorest of the poor. On the day of Eid, they should get a meal. So firstly, you can't give it just before Eid prayer, walking into the masjid, because there's no way the masjid is going to process that money and get it to the poor, even in their own neighborhood. Even the food bank cannot give it out on that day. So please, at least give it 10 days before. Don't come to the masjid. Can we not plan for our own deen and religion? Everybody plans for going on holiday and whatever we do in our life, business trips. Can we not plan our Eid? And part of that planning is, what are we going to do about our Sadaqatul Fitr for our family? If you're the guardian of that family, you need to pay for every person under your guardianship. Even a baby born that day, you need to pay for that baby. So plan it, give it 10 days in advance. If you have a new baby arrive on Eid day, you can just pay for that baby on that day, inshallah. Everybody else, please pay 10 days in advance. And how much do I pay? The ultimate question. Actually, how much you pay depends on the lifestyle you live, the social status you have. How much do you spend on your Eid meal? The best way to look at it. Let's forget the fiqh and the hadith for a minute, but look at it practically. What do we spend on Eid day? If I went out for a meal with my family on Eid day or the day after to celebrate Eid, how much would we spend per head? That's what you should be thinking about when you're calculating your Sadaqatul Fitr. Not the £2, £3, okay, 1.5 kilos of wheat or flour, whatever. These are the absolute minimum. If you are yourself just above the poverty line, yes, you give the absolute minimum. If it is 2 kilos of flour, or if it's 3.5 kilos dates, that's different. But if you look at the companions at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, they gave according to their status. So they gave dates, for example, in Medina, right? 3.75 kilos of ajwa dates today is still around £90. If you buy proper ajwa dates, whether you buy them here or you buy them in Saudi, it's about £90. If you live in an above average house, you drive an expensive car and you earn way above the national average wage, that's what you should be given per head. And you'll actually then feel that if I've got 5 people in my family, 5 times 90, that's £450, that's your Sadaqatul Fitr. Okay? If you're on the borderline and you're, just earning average, living in an average house, then you can think about giving normal dates. They cost about £25-30 for 3.5 or 3.75 kilos. Okay? Why do we always choose the absolute minimum? It's not, I don't blame our community or the people. I actually blame the lack of knowledge transfer from people, who've made it the norm. Like, for example, there's another mindset in this country that you can't give zakat in this country, right? And that's total misconception of the deen. You're actually supposed to give your zakat here first. It's a local priority. Then whatever's left, you give abroad. Okay? The priority of zakat is localized. How would you go out and give your zakat to people in your community if you didn't give it locally? Last year, I gave half of my Sadaqatul Fitr to my mum because she sends it to Bangladesh and it's the family tradition, but half of it I gave it to the food bank in this masjid. And I gave it knowingly, willingly, consciously, knowing that a lot of Muslims come and take food from this food bank in this masjid, and I gave it with the intention that my fitrah is going to go and give somebody a good meal on Eid day. That's an example of how you can be creative in giving your fitrah, inshallah. Okay? To work out what is the minimum, I think, let's forget the wheat one for a minute, but if you look at like dates, which is the easiest one to calculate, go to any supermarket, any Muslim supermarket, look at different quality dates. How much is 3.5 or 3.75 kilos of dates? What does it cost to buy? Not if I buy 10 kilos and I split it up, no. Because if you give the money to the poor person, they're not going to buy a big sack of dates or a sack of wheat. They're going to buy individual portions, okay? And give it accordingly. If you are struggling like we all are, and you can't, then you can go for the lesser minimum amount, inshallah. The most important thing to remember when we calculate charity is the usul, anfa' lil fuqara. What benefits the poor the most? Not what money I save, what is the cheapest way I can get out of it? No, what benefits the poor the most? Secondly, Allah tells us not to give things in charity that we don't like ourselves. So, would you have a £2 meal? Would you have a £2 meal on Eid day? Or would you prefer to have a nice meal on Eid day? That's what you should be giving to the poor, inshallah. And finally, just to close, Allah tells us, لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ. You won't reach piety until you spend what you love the most. Okay? So this Ramadan is about spending. It's about giving money. Not that's easy to give, but that's hard to give. Things that we love, we need to give in the path of Allah. May Allah accept all of our good deeds in this Ramadan. Give us the ability to calculate our zakat properly and accurately so that it's fulfilled in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that we can make the life of every poor person, be it in this community or in our native home countries, wherever they are, wherever we give our Sadaqatul Fitr, we make that difference on Eid day, that the poorest of the poor, they get to celebrate Eid on Eid day with a nice, good meal, inshallah. Jazakallah for staying behind.